Hello, welcome to Behind the Scenes. I'm having an allergic reaction to life and my eyes are nearly swollen shut. We are on with my co-host, kept him up all night to get me Benadryl.
That's you know what it reminds me a lot, because I was watching a lot of old Whose Line Is It Anyways, and that's exactly how they always kind of like kick off their show. You know what I mean?
Leave it open. I'm telling.
What are you
So
doing?
I'm talking to Kimberly in the background. It's all right. Just leave it open. Close Tia's door. Essentially, I've got her covering up the bed so the cat can't do this to me again. For those that don't know, I am deeply allergic to cats, and dogs and horses.
Super well. Can you? Yeah, there it is. We need a close up. Look, it's like it's red and swelling.
I have no eye makeup on. I have iced my eyes.
You shouldn't put eye makeup on right now.
No. I'm not going to do anything. I've done everything I can to get the swelling down, and I still look like I went, 2 rounds with Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
No, that's not true.
You look better than 2 rounds with Mike Tyson, to be fair. Yeah, our sound engineer actually commented saying it's a natural eyeshadow.
It's perfect. All I am is swollen and puffy and pink. It's not pretty. And then Bear, ironically, he's got dark circles under his eyes because he was very sweetly up all night with me. He didn't want to be. But at one point I remember rolling over and smacking his face and saying, "I can't breathe, grab me Benadryl." And when he snored, I smacked him again. So it went well for him.
I was okay. I think I woke up a couple times because I had just fallen asleep. So I'd wake up and I get a little frustrated because I'm thinking, God, I was just out. But yeah, you're dying. I'm trying to help you. I want you to be there tomorrow. You know,
he was awful about it. No, he was wonderful.
Thank you.
He got up a bunch of times and got me medicine. But my eyes were swollen shut this morning. And what's funny about it is usually I get my eyelashes done and I have a wonderful eyelash woman.
Yes.
And we didn't realize I would pet her dog and then I would brush my eyelashes and my eyes swelled shut. So I thought, oh my God, I'm allergic to the eyelashes. Turns out I was allergic to the dog.
It's someone you've known you're allergic to pets though.
I know.
I've known it too, and it never occurred to me. We
not at all. We just went with it. And then I didn't touch the dog this time. I was fine. It was great. I come home and I got them done on Wednesday. I didn't swell up till last night late. And I'd used a wipe that I had an allergic reaction to, and I should have washed it off sooner. I didn't. I used a makeup wipe. And then I laid on the pillow that my cat was on, and then my eyes swelled shut.
Just a cacophony of poor decisions.
It was so bad. And so my eyes swelled shut, and I threw up for a while, and it's fantastic. So for those that don't know, extreme allergic reactions can be really bad. I don't, of course, want to go into anaphylaxis. I have an EpiPen, but it's not going to stop me from having pets. I'm allergic to horses, which made me a terrible horsewoman because when you're sneezing and clamping on and you can't see.
When were you trying to be a horsewoman? Were you trying to be an equestrian?
A horse rider. I grew up riding horses.
Yeah,
I was allergic to them, so I frightened
horses and being like a horse rider.
No, I was a terrible horsewoman because I was allergic to the horses, and they don't like when you get on their back and sneeze.
Well, you know whose eyes should be swelled shut?
Conor McGregor.
Obviously, but I was going to say people who are angry at Madonna's album cover.
That is a whole thing. That's right. That was the worst segue.
It was not bad. That was one of the best segues I've ever done on this show right there.
Vote. Tell me. Okay, I'm going to get invited off Red Rentals in Palm Springs, California to one of you. I want to know what better segue could Bear have used? Because that was terrible.
I'll take it for next time.
Everyone is mad at Madonna over this album cover. They say it's too sexual for a 67-year-old woman.
It's the Confessions album, to be clear, because when you look up Madonna too sexual album cover, you get something called like Exotic or whatever.
Oh, that was fantastic.
It's always been a problem, right? No matter what old age she was.
So Madonna, for those that don't know, Madonna's always pissed off everyone. When the Reagan administration said that HIV was a punishment from God for the gay lifestyle. They did actually say this. You can Google this. Madonna then took and put in all of her albums a flyer on HIV and how to protect yourself. Her and Princess Diana, two people you wouldn't think you'd put together. Madonna and Princess Diana were two people who were willing to touch people with HIV during the AIDS crisis. Madonna was a huge help. She also helped with destigmatization. It's very difficult in today's day and age. Very, very difficult to understand the impact of Madonna and what she did do for HIV.
It's going to have to be put down in a history book for people to actually understand. I don't think they're going to go on and research themselves.
America doesn't tend to give praise to its unsung heroes. But so everyone's upset at Madonna for 67 for this album cover. And you know what? She's always been controversial. And the more controversy she rings up, the more she's going to do it. That's her whole brand. So all of you that are yelling and screaming and complaining, Madonna She pushed against apartheid. She helped with HIV. Oh yeah, like Madonna pissed. She was banned from Africa for a while because she was, anti-apartheid. Which I don't even know how that's a controversial stance, but whatever.
Well, it's controversial to people who wanted it.
Yeah, well, Charisse Theron got in trouble for that.
Yes, I know that name.
Yeah, because she adopted her child is African, and she grew up in Africa, and she's making sure he speaks Africa, the languages she speaks, and all of that. And they said, because she was anti-apartheid, she was anti-South African government, therefore she shouldn't have been allowed to adopt. I'm like,
yeah, but who's going to complain about that except maybe the South African government at the time?
Yeah, it's
that's a really dumb thing.
When you make racism policy, shout out America, you guys did it well. You guys did it well. Yours is entrenched. But when you make racism policy, it's always going to follow you. And your inability to acknowledge the damage you're doing is generationally problematic. That said, Madonna spoke out against that. I like Madonna. I think it's great to have people shake things up. I really think, people like her, Tina Turner, Dolly Parton, people that are willing to kind of shake that mold, they make a difference.
I gotta say though, I really don't feel like this album cover was shaking any mold. It's not like it's that.
It is for her age. 67-year-old women don't try and do sexy, and I love that she's doing it. And some people are into it, some people aren't, but you cannot disregard her talent. She's a talented woman.
That is true.
Speaking of people who are not talented, Harry and Meghan just went back to the UK.
Oh yes, they did. Did they move back permanently, or is this just
they
like
went
a
to visit.
So
Meghan Markle's career collapsed mostly because she's a dick.
Yeah.
She was a dick before she married in the family. She's a dick now.
Well, we've done that.
I'd like to remind everyone, every time we use bad language, we give money to the Boys and Girls Club of America, the Humane Society of America, and free MMA. We swear because we can.
Dick is not a swear word.
It is a swear word, and you need to watch your language because Moniece's grandfather is going to be on the show, so we want to be very polite.
Word.
It's a naughty word. Johnny, okay, so the short version of the news. Harry sucks. The UFC is in Dubai. Big shock.
Duh.
Conor McGregor broke his leg. No one deserved it more. Johnny Depp showed up as Ebenezer at Comic-Con, and Comic-Con has taken over the world.
Fair enough.
American scientists are fleeing because the government's not supporting them. So America's best minds are being poached by Europe. I should be against this, but let's face it, it's benefiting my country, so I'm not going to say a word.
This is your country.
Sure, I make money here. And America's scientists fleeing mean America is not going to be the powerhouse of knowledge that it once was.
Hey, God, we haven't been that way for years.
No. You were the original beacon. People came here. You poached everyone else's scientists. That's how you got them.
Yeah, aren't we number one in like infant? We're not number one, but we're number one in adults in prison per certain range of space. And baby deaths.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
we're not number one in very good categories.
When you say
right
America
now.
is leading the world, America is leading the world at teen pregnancy.
Yeah.
Incarcerated adults.
Yeah.
Number of people that believe angels are walking among us.
Yeah.
And infant deaths in the first world.
Ironically, all funny things from that like movie Newsroom or whatever it was called.
What
Not
movie
Newsroom. That's all from a really famous scene of this guy who's supposed to be running
Bill Pullman.
for.
Bill
Yes,
Pullman.
exactly.
Look that up. It's fantastic.
Like it's a great scene, but it's ironically sadly all really true.
Well, America's not doing very well with that, and people, you're drinking and driving here is still a thing.
Yes.
We just lost the 18-year-old actress from Godzilla.
Yeah. Katie Hoddle, she was 18. A lot of people know that she was genuinely deaf, by the way. She's actually a deaf actress in the movie playing a deaf child. But she just turned 18, gotten I believe it was a Honda Accord with a 19-year-old young man. This is the worst part. He was speeding, one car accident, rolled it off the right side of the road. He perfectly fine. She's gone. But
what that usually happens, my son was killed by a drunk driver,
right.
And the drivers are usually okay because a drunk person's relaxed.
Was he? I don't think it came out that he was intoxicated. I don't know if they've done a toxicology screening yet.
They're doing that. They believe he was drinking.
I would hope that given her career and everything, she would have been a little wiser to not getting that willingly. So maybe she didn't know. Either way, it's just kind of a really tragic
she's 18.
situation
Kids
altogether.
At
Yeah,
18.
that's true. They make bad decisions. And this implies to me that maybe this is a guy she was dating or something of that category to where she already trusted him, and then he's doing all this reckless crap.
It's unfortunate, and bad decisions can be permanent. And that's what we need to look at.
Well, that's what it is. This was a permanent bad decision. And of course, he's going to have massive, whatchamacallit, survivor's guilt on top of that.
It serves him right.
I agree.
I am sorry. Survivor's guilt, when we talk about it, military persons, I feel sorry for them. It's awful. It's a terrible thing to happen. When you cause the accident and you murder somebody, you deserve it.
Well, you know who doesn't cause accidents and murder people?
That really, I didn't think you could do a worse segue than Madonna.
Our guest for the show, Moniece Slaughter. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hi,
guys.
Hi.
How's it going?
I didn't think he could do a worse segue than Madonna, and he did.
Oh, I was listening. I was like, what the hell does Madonna have to? But I missed the Madonna segue, but now we're here. So
yeah, he's not doing great at the segues. Would you please, for those that don't know, Moniece is a friend of the show. You guys have seen her before. She's come on here quite a bit. You always end up sending me emails to ask her questions. Email her. Go get her on social media. Leave me alone. Moniece, would you please introduce the gorgeous gentleman next to you?
This gorgeous gentleman next to me is my grandfather, my mother's father, Tommy Lee McCraw. Everybody calls him Mac. Former Major League Baseball player, World Series winner, and coach, aka Big Sexy.
Ooh, I like that.
And I'm Little Sexy.
Perfect.
And that's my grandpa. Well, I call him Poppy or Big Sexy, but yeah, known to his peers and fan base and friends as Mac.
As Mac. Did Big Sexy come along early in the career? Or was that later on, like during coaching or beyond that?
Oh no, Big Sexy was what I call him. I made that up. Big Sexy is
okay.
name. You know, he was known to be a ladies' man, so Big Sexy. I picked up my tricks from him.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, you know what? Fair enough.
Perfect. Now, I have to ask, with Major League Baseball in the United States is considered the only genuine American sport. It shaped the United States. It shaped international relations. It's gotten massively popular in Japan now, of all places. You are involved in the only true American sport. How do you feel about it being exported to the rest of the world now?
She's saying that baseball is considered
American sport.
Mm-hmm. And how do you feel about it now being exported out of the country?
No, I feel because it started in America, probably started during the Second World War, a lot of Japanese players. That's why it's big in Japan.
Yes.
Japanese soldiers were actually playing baseball then on the islands and stuff. But it gives the economy, as far as young men, a chance to give them something else to go after, to become something. I know since I was 10 years old, I wanted to be a Major League Baseball player. And when I got my first uniform, I ran home to my mom, and I ran about 3-4 miles with my uniform in my hand, not even in a bag. And I ran up on the steps. My mother thought somebody was chasing me. And when I hit up on the front steps, she snatched me. "What's the matter, baby? What's the matter?" I said, "Nothing, Mom. I want to be a Major League Baseball player." And from that day, everything was focused on becoming American baseball player in the major leagues, not in the minor leagues, in the major leagues.
So you're in support of it being overseas.
Oh, absolutely. It's a great sport. It gives you an opportunity to not only financially advance, but it gives you a chance to take another step in your life that you wouldn't have had a chance to take. And so it has provided it for you. I think it's great. I think it's great. I'm seeing it just spread across the country that people love baseball.
Yep.
And that's an outstanding thing to do, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. What's really awesome about how you describe the story is that you knew from 10 forward that's exactly what was going to happen. You did become a Major League Baseball player. You became one of the best known ones to ever step in the field. Why do you think so many other people have that first idea, that idea of I'm going to do this thing, and it kind of tapers off and they never make it? What was the difference between what you did and what so many others fail to do?
Well, I think the good Lord has a lot to do with that, because when I first signed a contract with the White Sox to play Major League Baseball, in high school, I was the player of the year in Los Angeles. Every high school in Los Angeles, I was the player of the year. And that takes teams like the White Sox, the Giants, the Mets. They're looking for players out of high school and junior high school that has that kind of talent, because trust me, it's not just a walk, it's a dance in the park, and it's a big dance, because you've got to go through a lot to get to the major league efforts, to let people see you on a big scale of the major leagues. My first team I played with was Clinton, Iowa.
Really?
A lot of people don't even know where Clinton, Iowa is.
No.
You're fine.
But, from there, I went from Clinton, Iowa to Idaho Falls, Idaho. That was my second team I played with, and I played well. And the third team I played with was quite a jump, because normally in professional baseball, your jumps will go like this. Mm-hmm. D, that's the beginning. C, B, A, double A, triple A, then major leagues, White Sox Park. So you've got to make all those jumps. And so I made the jump from C-ball to triple A and won the batting title in Indianapolis, Indiana. That's what everybody said. Wow, we got another Willie Mays.
Right.
It wasn't quite that. I had a lot to learn, and it, trust me, and the young players that hear this, understand it's a lot to learn. You have physical talent, but the key to becoming a good Major League Baseball player starts from the shoulders up.
I see what you're saying. So building your mind first, if you want to
how to play the game, how you play the game, what you learn, what do you absorb from guys that have played the game. One of my bigger guys were like Frank Robinson, a good friend of mine. But I learned a lot from him. I learned how he thought and why he was successful. And that was the key to everything, is you learn from your shoulders up. Now you apply it for your leg, because I could run like hell. I had good wheels. The only people that beat me running was Willie Davis with the Dodgers in 58. I played with the Dodgers when they first came to Los Angeles in 58. I was the first baseman, but they moved me to left field, put Willie Davis in center field, and I played left field. And from then on, it was just steps up the ladder to get into the major leagues. I finally got to the major leagues on June 3rd, 1963, and never went back to the minor leagues.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Oh, okay.
I know. So it's so interesting. You were with baseball in some of its most formative years. It did expand outside of the United States in, the 40s, and then in the United States, it got really popular in the 60s and 70s. 60s especially was the largest advancement in it, and is also when they started looking at televising and everything there, rather than just doing radio broadcasting for it. And once it was televised, it blew up as a sport, and the baseball players went from being just athletes to stars. So it required a personality on top of the sports acumen. For you, what advice would you give to young men trying to not just baseball, but get into these competitive sports like MMA, basketball, baseball, NFL, across the board? Obviously, their head needs to be in it. What else do they need?
Well, I think you need to allow the kids to learn how to play. What I see at this point is a lot of ways how not to hit. If you don't hit, it's hard to become a big star. Yeah. So teach them how to hit. I look at guys now and I cringe when I look at it on TV, and what the hell's going on with that? What kind of batting is that? What kind of effort is that? That's not the way we did it in the 60s. My first instructor was Ted Williams, allegedly the best hitter in baseball ever.
Yep.
He was the first one I ever got down and taught me and the whole team how to grip a bat. Now that sounds minor, but coming from Ted Williams, it was major. He was the best of the best. And he was sharing his mental knowledge with me, how to grip a bat. I'll tell you the rest of that. One thing that's kind of funny is that once I had played and earned my stripes in major leagues, now I had to go out and I retired, and now I have to teach kids. So I'm teaching them what Ted taught me. And so, except for that was back in the 60s, and Ted's talking about when he learned, it was back in the 40s when he was playing, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Well, when I'm trying to teach a kid now in 70s, they don't know what the hell an axe is. Everybody had saws. Nobody had axes anymore. Saws were gone. And so, that was a place you used. It wasn't axes, it was saws. But Ted taught us on the axe. That's what we had.
So what advice, how you would advise Cameron my son, which is his first great grandchild,
Mhm.
if no matter what sport Cam wanted to play, what would you tell him? Whether he came to you and said, Poppy, I want to play football, I want to play hockey, I want to play soccer, I want to play basketball, I want to play golf. What advice would you give him if he's going to get into any sport and succeed?
I would get him with some of the guys that I know in different sports and have conversations with them. You need to learn what's in there above their shoulders. You can look at the physical attributes that they have, but that's not making them great. What's making them great is their knowledge that they've acquired. That's the difference between a great player today. O'Shawnee, the guy with the Dodgers, his head is good. His mental approach to hitting is outstanding. And so he can produce when the guy maybe two hitters behind him doesn't have that same approach and hadn't sat down to talk to him about, well, why are you so good and I'm not? I can physically have the same tools you have.
So humility, being humble enough to go to seek the knowledge.
Humility is to build it. You don't have the mental knowledge that he has. That's what you need. The mental knowledge of the great football player.
That makes sense.
But
Right.
number 23 with the Lakers. You don't need his build, you need his mental approach.
Yeah.
I can understand that. Is if I can get in, I can learn from these great people. I can then transfer that to my own abilities. But I have to be able to meet them and tell them and put the time in.
Now, they say Moneyball, essentially changing baseball to a numbers game versus a sport when it became about the money versus the players is when we stopped getting the great baseball stars. That was in the early 80s. Then we had the same thing happen to basketball in the 90s. We're now seeing this even with film and television. We have no more movie stars. It's gone to social media. When you have these big changes, you lose the stars. We don't have the Willie Mays today. We don't have, the Babe Ruths. We don't have these people coming out that we used to because it's become a numbers game over the sport, over the competition. What do you think it would take to bring back great baseball stars, to bring back great stars within the sport?
Well, I think, again, is if you want your child, and you want someone to progress to the best that they can be, to the absolute best. You see, let me just try to give you an example. For instance, I don't think that I was the best that I could be.
Really?
And when I got old, I had talent enough to cover that because I could run like hell and I could think like hell. I could think good and I knew what to do in processes. But when and how, I didn't have that. That's what I was searching for. And I didn't know I was searching for that. But it passed me every day. Frank Robinson had it. Pete Rose had it. This kid with the Dodgers now, O'Shawnee, he has it. Mm-hmm. And the question we have to ask us, at least what I ask about baseball players, why do you have so few players going into the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
You got tons of them playing Major League Baseball. Tons of them. And only a very few. I think, I looked at the board last night on TV. You got maybe 6 guys going in the Hall of Fame. And the other can't tell you why. They run better. They have better physical condition, but you don't have the mental know-how of what put it in place to make you perform above average every day you walk on the plate. I used to say to myself, why does Barry Bonds and guys that's hitting 300, why are they laughing all the time? When you go watch them hit VP, they're laughing, got the bat tucked in their pocket, and got the hat caps on backwards, and they laughing and talking. The guy that's hitting 230, he's quiet. He wants to hit his bat and then get the hell out of there. But Bonds don't want everybody to know I'm here. I'm getting ready to take my batting practice. So, they have they know what they're going to do every day. They may not get hits every day, but they know how they're going to approach their at bat every day. And most guys in a professional baseball does not know that. They don't know how to put it in place. And I didn't know that too. Well, the biggest thing for me was Ted Williams again. I was traded from the White Sox to Washington Senators. And I've been there, and there's Ted Williams. And I'll give this story to you real quick. And brought me back to Chicago. And we're playing in Chicago, and Bart Johnson, my former buddy last year in Chicago, was now pitching against me. But I wasn't playing. My legs, I was pulling hamstrings every other week. So I was on a downward skid. I was on my way out the door, but I could still hit a little bit and I could still run quite a bit and play the game, center field and first base. But he put me in, he says, it's 3-1. White Sox are down at the top of the 8th inning. And Ted Williams looked at me and says, get your bat. Well, in those days, he said, you roll at him or you say something smart, but you don't do that today. You get your ass fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he said, get your bat. So I got my bat. And he said, set your so-and-so down. I ought to send you up there and let that kid throw that ball right up your so-and-so, so-and-so. What am I going to say? Now, you're embarrassing me. You embarrassed me in front of my teammates. So now the umpire said, Ted, get my head up here. What are you doing? The game's about over, and here you're stalling for time. So he told me, go ahead. Go up and let that kid stick that ball right up your butt. He didn't use that word, but you could make out what it meant.
Right.
And let the kid go ahead and stick it right up your behind. Well, my teammates are laughing, falling off the bench in the dugout, laughing at me because he beat me to death with words. And I'm angry. I'm not laughing at what the damn. I'm not laughing at all. I'm angry. And so finally, the umpire said, get up here, let's go. So I go up there and he said, how you doing today, Mike? I said, I'm not doing what the damn. I said, all right, let's go. The first pitch that Bart Johnson threw me in that game in Chicago, not the second pitch, not the third pitch, but I knew what I wanted to hit.
Just his shoes is fine.
The moment I stepped out the dugout, I knew what I was going to prove Ted Williams wrong. What he said I couldn't do. And Bart threw me a first pitch that he wanted to stick up my butt, and I hit it in the second deck in Old Comiskey Park for a 3-run homer.
That's incredible.
Hell yeah.
That is incredible. And it makes you wonder, was he doing that?
But the funny part about it was because he was my friend. We get around, when I get to first base, Bart is standing in first base cussing me out. So I'm laughing because I hit the home run. So he followed me around the bases. He went with me from first to second. He went with me from second to third. And he went with me from third. He peeled off and went to the dugout, White Sox dugout. I went on the home plate, touched home plate. And on the other side of home plate, Ted Williams was there. And he grabbed me and gave me a big hug. So-and-so. That's the way to hit that so-and-so ball. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I've been trying to get you to do. But the most important thing of that, remember I told you about, is come from your shoulders up.
Yes.
He would take 5 or 10 minutes before a game or after a game and explain to me about hitting and why he was a good hitter and what made it work for him. And I better, I'm late now. I don't have much longer to play Major League Baseball, but I'm going to try it. And if you ever look at the record book, you'll see in the latter part of my career, when I'm getting ready to close the door, I was a much better hitter than I was when I was 23, 24, and 25, 26, because I didn't know what to do until Ted told me what he did.
That makes
and I
sense.
took it aside for what I'm going to use it too. If he used it, I'm going to use it. But what became up here to
I mean,
me
it sounds like you just had one of the best coaches ever at
Yeah.
that point.
Well, that makes a
Yeah,
difference.
the
coaching
great
is.
hitters have it. The great hitters have it. How they got it, I don't know. But they have it. Pete Rose had it. Frank Robinson had it. Hank Aaron had it. Mantle had it. Mays had it.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Williams in Chicago had it. Ernie Banks in Chicago
You
had
had
it.
to have it because you
They
became
had
a
the mental
coach.
approach to
Yep.
hitting. And that's what's missing today.
But that's the humble you're talking about, Moniece. Is he's not putting
You
himself
start
there,
me
he's
on that,
there.
you're getting me preaching. That's what.
Actually, that's what I
I like that.
I wanted to ask next was, you said when you retired from Major League Baseball, you said the words, I had to go and coach. I had to go do this thing. And I want to know what compelled you to do that. There are many people in every sport who stop, retire, quit, whatever. They don't pass on that information. They don't feel like it. It's not in them. But you said you had to, like it was an obligation. You felt you needed to go and give it to the next generation. Why?
Well, primarily because I was pulling hamstring muscles about every 2 weeks. I'd pull a hamstring. I was older. My age was kicking up. The one thing in baseball, it will kick your behind if you stay around long enough. And I had like so many years as a player and then so many years as a coach teaching kids how to hit.
But he's saying, what made you want to coach? What made you want to pass the information on to the younger generation?
Because I didn't get it. I want to give it to somebody else. I want to give it to other young hitters. That I could share that with them because I know where it is. I know where the key is. And so if I give it to them, and there are guys that I have that when I was coaching, let me just get Rico Bronya. When I was coaching with the Mets, they brought him in there, and he was hitting 188. He stayed with me for 3 years. When he left, he was hitting 290, hitting 20 home runs a year.
Oof.
But I talked to him. This is what you got to do. This is what I want you to do. And he listened to everything out there. And I can communicate. I have the physical ability and the verbal ability. I can communicate with hitters on their level, so I'm not talking over their heads and they don't know what I'm talking about. I want you to know what I'm talking about, because you're going to have to instill this into your head. That's going to make you a heck of a ball player, a heck of a hitter anyway. I don't know about catching the ball and all that stuff, but I know about hitting.
I have now, Moniece, for you, you grew up in a family, your dad's a musician, your grandpa's a baseball player. You grew up in Hollywood, and you yourself were a huge reality star. What is it like coming with your grandpa and knowing he's got, sportsmanship, dedication, all of this is his, moral fiber at this point? What is it like being raised with and around somebody who worked so heavily in the sports field?
So growing up with my poppy, I will say also because of the era, the time, racism is still very much prevalent, but segregation, the civil rights, right? So in other words, the amount of one, yes, talent, two, desire, drive, discipline,
dedication.
It was different. Dedication. It was different in his generation because of what he was up against racially, right? So and so I only mention that to say, being raised around my poppy was very much a part of my whole life, from my mom's pregnancy until now. I'm 39. And so I learned a lot from him in terms of ownership, in terms of independence, him chipping in to help me get my first car, things like that. Knowing how to change a tire. Those are things that he was like, you need to know these things. What happens when the world ends? And, and you're younger and you think, oh my gosh, but now look at the times, right?
Yeah.
So him buying property in Virginia that was hundreds and hundreds of acres. So we had something, God forbid we ever need to build or whatever, right? So it was very interesting because a lot of that was instilled in us, like knowledge was his thing. So he was tough on us for sure. Hunting. So what was put into us was sustainability.
Yep.
That makes sense.
That's his whole thing, is whatever you're going to do, he doesn't really care what it is. His whole thing was just be the fucking best, whatever you're going to do. And if you're going to do something that I feel will sustain you and your children, then everything I work for and have built, I'll help you. But his whole thing is, if you're going to sit on your ass and not do anything, count me out. Even now, to this day, if I came to him and said, I have this idea, I have this business venture, his first question to me is going to be, well, what have you done so far? And if I'm like, well, I just need the money to get started, he would probably tell me to kiss his ass and kick rocks. So he's not just handing out, you know what I mean? He'd rather pay for me to get the education than to just give me the money to start and fail and not sustain. So he's very big on that, like even to this day.
It sounds like his entire life, even through his coaching of baseball, the goal, and I don't mean to talk about
education.
you while you're with us, but just to like, you are going to be the best. I didn't become the best I could be till it's too late. Here's what I needed to know to do that. You're going to learn it right now.
Well, you got into a sport, and your grandfather got into a sport in one of the most transformative times in American history, in one of the most bigoted times in American history, and one of the most dangerous. May I ask, how did you cope with that? Because you're looking at one of the largest points of change, one of the most dangerous points in American history.
Well, to me, you have your choices to make. Your choice is not my choice. You choice. I'm going to back you. You feel like you can do what you want to do, and we talk about it, and you feel like you want to do this. It's something I wouldn't even try to do. But walking on the baseball field, having somebody throwing a 95, 97 mile fastball at you, something they wouldn't want to do.
Well, how did you deal with the racism and the bigotry when you came into the sport?
Because you know it's there, and I have to say, my mother played a big part in that, as far as racism is concerned. She once said to me, "There's nobody on this earth better than you." And I like that. That sounds right. And in the next breath, she said, "And you are better than nobody." And I live with that. I never look down on anybody. But you don't have to look up to me because I was a professional baseball player. Look up to me because I was a good human being. And I treated you well. And I treated you with respect. And that's what I'm going to do until I leave here. And that's what I was taught.
I like that.
And you don't have to be in sports. It can be in anything. Wherever I met you, and I can speak to you and, hi, you don't have to speak back. That's your problem. I'm going to speak to you and walk on down the street and keep going.
That's really important to hear. I love that. You know, there's so much, especially in today's generation now, there's a lot of people who are very recluse. They don't like to interact. Their first thought is not to be respectful. It's a weak personality or mindset.
Weak.
So I love that you say that, because it hopefully gets people who are listening to kind of see their own behavior and look at, all right, this is how real men are actually interacting and dealing with the world in front of them. You know,
one of Bear's projects, and one of the things he talks about a lot now, is young men, and the examples they have in media are terrible. So it's wonderful to have someone like yourself who are talking about the mental fortitude necessary to succeed, because that's something that is consistently ignored in young men, especially in today's day and age.
And to circle back to what you asked me, now that I think about it, one of the other things my poppy's always been really big on is our choices. Yeah. And he tells this story. I'll let him tell it. It's one of my favorite stories. But now that I think about it, he's always really driven home the fact that we have a choice to make. We say we want to succeed in this or do this, but instead you went to the party. And now you're here asking me for my financial resources, but you had a choice. And you chose not to make the sacrifice necessary that was going to help get you to where you say you want to be. And now you're expecting me to prop you up in some form of nepotism. Not going to happen. And he always tells the story about him going to the dance. So you have to tell, so in other words, he knew he made a poor choice, and he'll tell you what that choice is.
That was when I was about 12, 13, and I was playing with local guys in baseball in Venice, California. And I promised them that I was going to play with them that night. But that night was like a Saturday night party. But I was working on my bicycle, getting my spokes ready, because it was about a Wednesday. And they came and said, "Mac, you going to the dance tonight?" I said, "This girl wants to dance with you." Oh, man. I don't know. I don't know. I'm working on my spokes. I'm getting the spokes ready in my wheel. I don't know if I want to go or not. But Thursday, I knew I wanted to go, because she was a pretty woman. So I wanted to go.
Rosalie.
I wanted to go. So I got ready, but I had one problem. I couldn't dance. But I had two sisters. So they took Thursday and Friday to teach me how to dance without stepping on that girl's feet. So I practiced dancing for 2 days, and I went to the party. And when I walked in the door, she walked up to me and said, "I want to dance with you." I'm good with that. I'm good with that. So we were dancing, and all of a sudden, the music stopped. And Rosalie and I were dancing, and my back was to the door, but people were looking past us. And when it got to the door, I turned around and looked. Lord have mercy. Stood in the door with my mother and the whole team that I was supposed to be playing with that night. And my mother walked up to me on the dance floor. She said, "Did you promise these guys that you were going to play with them tonight? Play them the baseball game tonight?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "You knew what to do then. Turn around and left." And I turned around and left right with her.
Your mother's my hero.
I went to that party. I mean, I went to the baseball game. And the theory is, I learned later, but you don't lie about something when you don't lie. But I had to make a choice, and I chose to leave it. That makes me lie to my teammates. And they told me, well, we got 12 more games to play. You'll get a chance to dance with her. But that didn't work. So she walked in. She didn't get loud. She didn't scream like some parents do. She just said, did you give them your word that you were going to play ball with them tonight? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, well, then you knew what to do. And she turned around and left, and I left with her and followed the team back, played game that night, and I never broke my promise to that. When I give my word, I keep my word. And I learned that from my mom.
That's a huge lesson.
Honor and integrity are something I think that are lacking quite a lot. And, being a person of your word or a man of your word is something I think is very underrated. But I think it is the most important thing and the best marker of decency. I love that. Your mother is my hero. I love how that was handled.
She's mine too.
Absolutely brilliant.
And I was blessed enough to have I was blessed enough to have time with her, and she was hilarious.
Really?
Yeah, she was alive for well into my early teens.
That's awesome.
And I think I was her first great grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my great nana, and she lived across the street from his sister, my Aunt Cora.
That's
incredible. Aunt Cora was your oldest sister, or was Sue the oldest? Aunt Cora was the middle. He's the baby.
Baby girl.
I like that it kind of continued generationally, where you were her first grandchild. Now your child is his first great-grandchild.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to ask you, Moniece, when, your grandfather's talking about honor, integrity, being a man of his word, and his mother having that impact on him, generationally, when you look at, most parents would not do what his mother did, which is, this is what you say you're going to do, then you're going to do it, and you're going to do it well. Most parents would say, skip it, baseball's not it, do something else. The fact that his mother, your great-grandmother, his mother supported him in that is very, very rare. What impact do you think that's had on your family? Because you've all sort of taken over media.
I think we've all been able to identify our own niche. Like, no one person is trying to follow the next. We're all very comfortable in who we are and what we want to do. And we're all I think we're all pretty bullheaded, to be honest. I think every one of us is very much, if this is what we set our sights on, this is what we're going to do. And so I think that integrally through the generations, it's just been a thing. Like, I don't really think it had to be taught, like told, yes, but we saw it. So in other words, my mom saw it in him. I saw it in my mom. My son sees it in me. And so with my son, what I try, it's a little different now. Like, I don't think my parents would support me walking into Cameron's school dance or party and saying, hey, did you give your teammates your word? Now, it's something that I have wanted to do before, but surrounding his academics, I felt like he was being favored. I felt like he was being allowed to continue to play because of who his dad and I were at the time to the public and being on TV. And I felt like, this was at the beginning of, I think he was going into like 6th grade, and in his grades were starting to count. And you weren't supposed to be allowed to play with a certain grade point average. And he was actively playing. And I felt like, because he comes from a broken home, going to his dad's 1 week, with me 1 week, the focus at his dad's is sports. The focus in my home is academics. And so to me, sports came second, because what I wanted him to understand was, without the right GPA, you can't play anyway.
Yeah. Takes college ball off, takes everything off. Yeah, and I'm a hobbit and your dad's a midget. So, I'm sorry, little person. So you're not going to have the same grace as a Shaquille O'Neal or a Kobe Bryant or a LeBron. God forbid you get hurt in a way that you cannot return to the game. What is your fallback plan? Because my other thing was, you also have Poppy,
who's still well respected amongst the ones that are of his generation that are still here. And you have that inroad, right? So there's always, and I tried to tell him, look at Michael Jordan, look at all these players who left basketball and they were able to go play baseball. They were able to play golf. Like, you know, so I think for me, that is something that I would do, but my parents would be mortified if I did that. Because I said to Cameron, if I walk in, and I said to his coach, if I walk in to one more game and my son is on this court, I'm going to personally pull him off. Because stop favoring him. Because right now he feels like if my grades get to a 2.8, a 3.0, I get to play anyway. And it shouldn't be that. He needs to understand that when he needs to suit up and boot up for every practice and be on the bench with his books. And if he wants to play with his team, then he needs to get his head in the game academically. So I have had those moments where I feel like he's not going to get it until I embarrass him in that way. But this generation that is so frowned upon, right? But I know that my grandpa's had talks with my son's father, and it's fallen on deaf ears. But I mean, he's chosen not to accept the wisdom. And there's really nothing I can do other than, you know, when Cam comes around, my grandpa talks to him and he listens. But you know.
Let me interject something here. It's important that we put it into your program.
Of course.
When you try to force your son or daughter into a particular situation, that's your situation. Yeah. That's not your child's situation. For instance, a guy that you and me and my granddaughter and stuff, who we cherish, is that little quarterback in Kansas City. I think they call him Mahone. Mahone was with the New York Mets baseball camp. His daddy played for the Mets. Coach, he wanted his son to be a baseball player. Where'd he end up?
Football.
MVP in the football. Mm-hmm. The same with I can't remember the name. The quarterback the basketball player in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. The number one guy now. I can't remember his name. But I used to do baseball stuff. He was in the spring training with the Mets. His daddy wanted him to be a baseball player. He ended up being a star in the NBA. The others ended up being a superstar in the football league. Expose them. Let them choose. Expose them to whatever they want to get exposed to, but let them make the choice. And once they make the choice, we're all bored. Let's go.
I think that's a wonderful way of looking at it, because what you're gifting them with is the mindset to succeed and the choice to choose what road.
Yeah.
And that's a rare thing.
That's the way to go. Let them make the choice. My job as a parent is to support you. You decide where you want to go. You willing to put the time in. Now I'm looking what kind of time you're putting in. Can you sacrifice to do what you want to do? Then I'm going to sacrifice my time to be with you and help you do what you need to do.
I like that. That's a really good way of looking at it.
Parents should be doing.
I spend most of my time saying parents need to smack their children. I like his plan better.
Oh, he's
maybe
a
little bit both.
Good.
He's a smacker for sure. I've gotten a few pows in my time.
But I'll bet you learned from it.
Oh yeah. Once he told me, and I was very hard-headed, and my mom and my uncle gave him hell too, stealing his van while he was asleep, all kind of shit. But I feel like once I got the pow, I wasn't gonna do it again, because it wasn't. It was a real pow. You know, it wasn't just a pop. It was a pow. And once you get that pow, you
don't believe that.
I did. I got a pow in Virginia. I got spanked. Oh, I got a whooping.
I would never whoop my credit.
I'd say I'm a big believer in that, in discipline, and I think especially coming from professional baseball, you're a very, very disciplined human being. With the generations coming now, people have gotten far more lax with them, and it's costing negatively. Do you think there is a way to strengthen we're actually at the end of the show. Is there anything you'd like to say to the audience before we go? Because I know they're going to enjoy this show.
The show?
They're saying, do you have any parting words? Any parting words as the show ends?
No, back your child. Back your child. But also help lead your child. Let them make some decisions what they want to do. And if I see you spending an accurate time, my kids or my grandkids, my offer's still out. They're old, 22 and 25.
I'm the oldest, 39.
My oldest offer is still out to them. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? You tell Pop what you want to do. I'll help you get there. I have the ability to help you get there. And so I want to help you. But I'm not going to sit there and pave the way for you and you party and dance and don't sacrifice to achieve the goals that I want you to achieve. These are your goals. I did my goals. I want to help you get to yours. Yours may not be what mine were. You may not even want to be in it. You may hate sports. That's okay.
I hate them.
Right.
I'll take you to movie theaters, and if that's where you want to be an actor, I'll take you there and see that you get some lessons, because that's what you want, and I want to help you achieve what you want to do.
I like
his
that.
parting words are back your children. My parting words are, Bear, we've got to figure out how to get Poppy. I need Poppy. I think Poppy should be my corner man in this fight between Marla and I. So I think he's a good one for our team. You ponder upon that, Bear, and some of your things.
Like that.
Well,
I'd actually like to see a book from
Poppy
him.
in my corner.
I'd like to see a book for him, for young men, because right now the young men in the world are following Andrew Tate. I'd prefer they follow your grandfather.
I think my mom is working on his memoir called From Brooks Ave to the Big Leagues. And so I think at this point it's just about finding the right publisher. But yeah.
Good. Really happy to hear that.
So that's really good advice. It's I'll sacrifice with you, but not for you. And I'm not going to sacrifice in my child's stead. I'll sacrifice with you to get your goals, but I will not do it for you. I cannot do it for you. That's really perfect. Like that. I think that is an exceptional way of looking at it. Guys, thank you very, very much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
I appreciate
that. This was a pleasure. I wish we had more time to talk.
So do I. Thank you so much, sir. It was wonderful.
Thank you. I enjoy having you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on Behind the Scenes. I really like that advice. Sacrifice with your children, not for them.
Yeah, that's
very good advice.
It's how the most successful.
You need to quote him in your book.
Were raised.
You need to quote him in your book. I like that. If you want me to sacrifice, you sacrifice first. I like that. I'm the Baroness with the puffy eyes. We are on with my co-host, Didn't Let Him Sleep. And we will see you next week. Guys, take time. If you're trying to build your future, advice from somebody that has already succeeded is a very good way to go. He's right. Build your brain. And if you're going to build your brain, look at somebody that has already lived the life you want to lead.
Follow someone who's already done it.
Exactly. It's phenomenal advice. I'm the Baroness. We are on with my co-host, Bear Fiorda. We'll see you next week.
Good night.
This has been Behind the Scenes with the Baroness and Bear Fiorda.